Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today we're going to be going over what to buy and what to avoid this week in Grand Theft Auto Online. And we're going to start off with the car sitting here right behind me, which is of course the Ocelot Penetrator. This is one of the vehicles that are discounted this week, among a few things that are discounted this week. Pretty cool car. It's all-wheel drive, has a little bit of customization. It's actually pretty nice driving. It has good handling, good acceleration. Top speed, a little bit on the weaker side, but I do think it is a pretty cool car. Now, before we get any further into the video, go ahead and drop a like on this video if you enjoy it or if you find it useful or anything like that, and consider subscribing to my channel if you guys are new. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with what's going on this week. So the first bonus of the week is going to be to do with the weekly challenge, and if you sell $300,000 worth of businesses, you will receive a bonus $100,000 this week. So if you sell an acid lab, if you sell a coke lockup, if you sell a bunker, as long as it's worth more than 300 grand, you should get a bonus $100,000. So it's really easy. Everybody should do this for sure. If you have a business, definitely worth it. Absolutely go for it. This week we also have triple money and triple RP on special vehicle work, which I do believe is in the VIP work here, and you get to use these special vehicles in order to do it, like the Ruiner 2000 for example, and things like that. Now we also have double money and double RP on the export mixed goods mission that can be launched through the CEO office. When you walk into the CEO office and you walk up to the assistant at the desk, you can export mixed goods. A truck will spawn at one of your CEO cargo warehouses. You deliver it to the docks. You'll earn 100 grand this week, whereas you would normally earn 50. And it's going to be available to do every 48 minutes. So this is actually a pretty good way to make some quick cash. So I would advise you to be taking advantage of that this week. We also have transform races on double money and double RP, or at least select transform races. So if you guys are interested in doing any of those, you can do them, and they will be double money and double RP, which is quite nice. Honestly, a lot of fun. I'd recommend it a lot. Now, of course, next up we have property discounts, and we have a pretty good couple of property discounts this week. So starting off under the money and services tab, under the executive realty website, you will find CEO offices 30% off, including upgrades and modifications to them. Now, as far as upgrading a CEO office, first of all, we got to talk about which location is the best. Now, in my opinion, I would say probably just buy Mazebank West if you're a newer player. However, if you do want a slightly more ideal location, in my opinion, the Arcadius Business Center is the best CEO office in the game. Mazebank is a lot more expensive, and if you care about like clout, even though I don't really think it's impressive to have Mazebank at this point, this is the most expensive one. So if you want to ball out, that's the one to get. But Arcadius is literally like just up the street from Mazebank, so I would just get Arcadius. It's a cooler looking building, better garage, everything like that. So I like Arcadius. That's my personal preference. This Lombank West one apparently does have a really good view, so if that's something you care about, maybe consider buying that one. But if you want to save money, just buy Mazebank West. Now, as far as upgrading it goes, I don't think a single thing in here actually matters other than the accommodation if you want to spawn here. However, something to consider is that for $556,000, you could very easily buy the Del Perro apartments, which is right across the street from Mazebank West, for example, for like 200 grand, and you can just spawn there and run across the street if you really want to. So it's not super worth it to get the accommodation, I would say, unless you really just care about the convenience of it. And if you're planning to spawn there a lot and get free snacks and do that export mixed goods mission this week, and in future, the accommodation might well be worth it for you. But other than that, everything else is not worth it. The safe is purely cosmetic. You do not need the safe. Please don't buy the safe. It's a complete waste of money. Gun locker is available at many other locations for cheaper, so I would not get that. Organization name, personnel, and decor do not matter. That's all personal preference. These are quite expensive, so if you do want to change stuff up, definitely do it while it's 30% off, but at the same time, you're not going to spend that much time here, so I don't really recommend doing much with it. Now, once you actually have a CEO office, something that you are also going to want to consider purchasing this week is the CEO cargo warehouses, which are also discounted by 30%. How you're going to purchase these is by sitting down at your office computer found within your CEO office. So you will need to own one in order to get these, so that is important to note. Now, once you've logged into the computer, you click on the special cargo tab, and from here you'll see the warehouse map, which you will click on, And then you can go to the All tab up here, and the ones that I would highly recommend owning or purchasing are going to be the large warehouses, which you will see right here, right here, right here, right here, and right here. The reason that you do this is because these are all large warehouses, so they can hold the most capacity of crates, and obviously they are in a straight line down the map, which means they're going to save you a lot of time when you're going to them, which is also how I'm going to recommend you to source your cargo. Now, you can click on a warehouse here and buy goods for it or whatever, and then you go and get them. That is the old-fashioned way of sourcing CEO cargo, and it is no longer recommended, at least by me. And I've made $100 million with CEO cargo just on this character, not even counting any of my other characters. It is probably the best business in the entire game. So what I would highly recommend doing, again, buy the Darnell Bros warehouse, the Logistics Depot, the Furniture warehouse, the Cypress warehouse, and of course the Walker and Sons warehouses. These are the best ones. They're in a straight line right like this, and then you just go over here. It's the closest one. You could buy the Vinewood backlot if you wanted to. It is fairly cheap, but that distance is going to be a lot more annoying to cover, especially if you're going from an office, for example, because you'd have to go here, then there, then all the way, you know, down like this. Whereas here you just go boom, 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 and it's easy. I don't exactly know what the prices of these are going to be. What I do know is that they're all going to be 30% off, and I recommend buying all of them this week if you can, or if you own a couple already, just fill it out and make sure that you have all of these. CEO cargo is an insanely good way to make money, and I would highly recommend it. You can passive source in each of the warehouses, which is why you're going to be going to them often. You go there, pay $7,500. The person inside each warehouse is going to come back with 1 to 3 crates plus a 1% chance of a special item, which is worth over $100,000 alone. And just as an example, my Cypress warehouse is my most full warehouse, and it's just under half full, and it's worth $1,299,000 right now, and this is all passive sourced. I've not done a CEO cargo mission in a long time, so take advantage of CEO cargo. It is, in my opinion, the best business in the entire game right now. But anyways, now that we're done with that, we gotta talk about some shit ass vehicles that are discounted this week. First of all, we have the Buckingham Nimbus. Now, this thing's not actually that terrible. It is 30% off this week. Actually, no, it's not. What is it? It's way more than 30% off. Is that a 9? I think that's a 9. This thing is 60% off this week. That's crazy. That's actually a really good discount. Still probably not worth buying. I honestly don't really recommend the Nimbus, even though it is kind of a cool plane. If you really want a private jet, I mean, it is a pretty good price. So I will just say that. Do I recommend it for anybody? Not really, unless you're like balling out of control and you just want it to have it. But it is a Pegasus vehicle. It can be made into a personal aircraft if you fly it to your hangar, and you will be able to change the color on it. That is all you can do to this thing though. That is it, so keep that in mind. However, out of the discounted vehicles this week, if I was going to recommend one of the aircraft, it would definitely be the Nimbus, especially in comparison to the god-awful Luxor Deluxe or Swift Deluxe. These are both absolutely terrible. Please do not buy them. You will be extremely disappointed, and you will regret buying them if you do decide to. 30% off for both of them, and they're just really bad, guys. They can take one extra homing missile, but the plane or the helicopter are still going to crash even after that extra homing missile that they can take, because they're still going to be too damaged to fly for long. That's the only bonus you get with them. Other than that, pretty much everything you can do in the Luxor, you can do in the Nimbus, and everything you can do in the Swift, you can do in the Super Valido, which you can get for free by owning an agency. So don't buy a Luxor or Swift Deluxe. I hope that goes without saying at this point, honestly. It's been so long that I've been saying that, but please don't. Moving over to Legendary Motorsport, we got the Anis Silvestre, $693,000 this week, down from $990,000. This thing is a pretty cool car with some decent customization. Performance-wise, it's not very good. However, if you like older looking cars like this, like Nissans and Datsuns from back in the day and everything, this is kind of a cool car. I think it's based off the 2000 or 3000 GT. I can't remember exactly which one off the top of my head, but it's one or the other. I think it's the 3000 GT. But anyways, it's a fairly cool car. It's got some nice customization. Performance is probably below average for what you're paying for it, I would say, even on discount. It does have a missile lock-on jammer, which has been recently added as an available upgrade to it, which is cool. But I don't really think that I recommend this to many people. If you're into older JDM cars and stuff like that, the Silvestre is definitely going to be something you should be more interested in. But even then, I think there are just generally better cars that you can buy than the Silvestre. So unless you really want this thing, I would say it's probably going to be an avoid this week, at least in my opinion. Here we have the Ocelot Penetrator, $616,000. And whereas you don't really seem to be getting the value out of the Silvestre, I do think that the Penetrator does offer that value, at least in the performance aspect. However, customization-wise, this thing is quite a bit worse than the Silvestre. And performance-wise, it's not exactly like it's the greatest car of all time. It is still a very below-average supercar. It is still fun to drive, so is the Silvestre. Either of them are kind of sort of worth it depending on who you are, but for most people I'd say neither of them are anything too special, so I would say probably avoid the Penetrator, probably avoid the Silvestre for most people. I do think the Penetrator is still a good car. I think the Silvestre is still a good car. I just don't think they're great as far as a general audience goes. We also have the Dinka Vito Classic discounted this week on Southern San Andreas Super Autos. Just don't. It's like a $626,000 go-kart. Ridiculous. There's not much you can do to it either, in case you were wondering. The novelty will wear off, I promise you that. If you buy this thing and for a meme or something like that, I promise you you're going to want that 600k back really quick, because it's not that cool. It's not that fun to drive either. Within the casino, the podium vehicle this week is the Pfister Astron. Definitely try to win this thing. It's actually a pretty awesome car, and definitely recommend it. It's one of the better SUVs in the game. Within the car meet, we got the Obey Omnis or Omni EGT available to be won as the prize ride, and in order to win it, you're going to have to place top 5 for 3 days in a row, which is a fairly easy challenge, and I would definitely recommend doing it. This thing is one of the most armored Amani Tech vehicles in the game, and for that matter, it's one of the most armored vehicles in the game. Fully electric, but the customization is pretty awesome, and as far as electric cars go, it is one of the better ones. Top speed, of course, it's going to be really weak, but it is still a fantastic car, so I would definitely recommend trying to win it. Within the car meet, these are the vehicles that are available. We got the Lampadati Michelli GT on the left. I'm going to go ahead and say it right off the bat. It is not worth it. You will probably be very disappointed, especially when you find out that the cost of this thing is $1,225,000. It does have some nice customization, but not exactly that amount worth, I would say. Also have the Tulip here in the middle and the Voltic on the right. I would go ahead and say the Voltic is worth it. It's like 150 grand. Like, you're really not going to go wrong with it. You're not going to miss the money too much with this thing. It is a pretty cool car. And the Tulip is in the middle for 718,000. Now, I like the Tulip a lot. I drive one quite often actually, but it does have some pretty glaring issues. It's got the same handling flags as the Vamos, and if you know anything about the Vamos, you know that for some reason, even as a muscle car, it spins out going straight, which is quite odd. It gets really unstable around 115 miles per hour, I would say, and the faster you go, the more unstable it becomes, and unfortunately, it's just not that fun to drive. Handling wise though, shockingly, it's actually quite good, and customization wise, it's awesome. For 700 grand though, I can't necessarily recommend it, even though I do love this car, unless you're just a diehard fan of cars like this. In which case, I would recommend it. Just be aware that it is probably going to disappoint you a little bit performance wise, so keep that in mind. The HSW test ride this week is the Annis Euros X32. It's going to cost you just under $3 million if you want to purchase it in this exact configuration right here, which in my opinion is very ugly, but it is here if you do want it. Alright, and within Simeon's this week, we're looking a little bit empty. We have the LCC Avarice here available, a pretty cool looking bike. Honestly, don't know a whole lot about motorcycles in this game, guys. It's definitely not my forte. For just under 150k, I mean, I think it's cool looking. I don't know if it's 100% worth it, but I mean, 150 grand is not a lot of money. I think it looks pretty sweet, but I'll let you be the judge of that, honestly. Next up, we have the Innovation, which is a pretty cool looking, like, retro but also futuristic sort of looking bike. 92,500. I would say that one is probably very worth it because it's just relatively cheap, honestly. I also have the Pegasi SK here, which I'm pretty sure I did not recommend last time we were here. It's almost 300 grand. That's probably why. I would buy both of those bikes before I would buy this one, honestly. So yeah. I also have the Vapid Bullet here, which is a removed supercar. It is the worst performing supercar in Grand Theft Auto Online. It is 155 grand, so not exactly the hugest loss. I actually really like how it drives personally, but but I don't think that everybody will. So if you're a fan of removed vehicles, you might want to consider purchasing it, but for most people, probably avoid it. We also have the Vapid FMJ here, which at full price I think is $1,750,000. Yeah, it's kind of a lot of money. Not much in the way of customization. Performance is a bit underwhelming. It's a fun car to drive, and it looks pretty cool, pretty futuristic looking, definitely based off of the newer Ford GT, but certainly not the greatest car ever, and not worth the money, unfortunately. I was told to stop going here in the comments, but this is Luxury Autos. We got the Fathom FR36, which is on the websites, and we also have the Dominator FX, which is, you guessed it, also on the websites. Alright, within the salvage yard, we have no claimable vehicles. However, we do have some very expensive, high, top-tier vehicles that are available to be stolen, being the Pagasi Ignis, the Grotti Italia GTO Stinger TT, and the Pagasi Infernus Classic. In order to get the Classic, you're going to need to complete the Podium Robbery. In order to get the Grotti Italia GTO Stinger TT, you will need to complete the Gangbanger Robbery, and the Pagasi Ignis can be stolen and sold by completing the McToney robbery. Within the garment factory this week, the project breakaway file is the priority file, so it's paying 300 grand this week. So if you want to do that, it's double. All right, guys, in the gun van location for today, the day that this video is actually coming out, it is right here at the Los Santos docks. And within it, we have a couple of discounts that you may want to be aware of. First of all, we have the military rifle. It is 50% off this week. We also have the railgun available in here, the compact EMP launcher, the combat MG, micro SMG, and the pool Q. Those are all available in here. For throwables, we've got stickies, proxies, and grenades, and body armor is in here as well. And of course, for your time trials, your RC Bandito today is Cypress Flats, your Junk Energy today is Mirror Park, your HSW this week is East Vinewood to Vespucci Beach, which is going to end right here by the mask shop, and your regular time trial is Chiliad this week, so definitely make sure to be taking advantage of those. Anyway, guys, there you have it. That has been it for what to buy and what to avoid this week in Grand Theft Auto Online. If you guys enjoyed the video, if you learned something, if you found it helpful, consider dropping a like and subscribing to my channel if you guys are new. It would really help me out if you guys did that. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care. Peace.